Oh, I don't know, but he was getting
Yeah.
much better metrics on YouTube than he was on Twitch during this short ban period. So he's like, yeah, I'm just going to multi-stream. I like my YouTube experience. I can't get rid of my Twitch chat, you know? I'm loyal to them. But he got unbanned like 2 days later. Anyway, enough about that. We are live. Welcome to Super Serial Showtime, everyone. As always, I'm your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. We are all ready to start going, I guess. I don't know what we want to talk about first. We've got a few things we can talk about. When we get through talking about the very few things we have to talk about, we're probably just going to be vamping for the rest of the show because, man, I dug. There was not that many interesting things to talk about, like news and stuff. So I've watched two different things in this last week. One of the things that I watched, you watched too, so I think we'll probably just start with that. Konosuba had two new OVAs added to it as part of the bonus, what do they call it? Bonus stage, like a video game or whatever. That we knew was coming out. I didn't know it was going to be more than one OVA. They just bluntly said OVA, but we knew for about 4 months now that it was going to be happening, and it finally did. We like Konosuba, so obviously the second we had the ability to, though I was waiting for you, we watched it. You already watched it without me, though.
That came out. Yeah. All right. Came out on Friday. I didn't know that was the OVA. I thought it was just new episodes. It's like,
Yeah, well, I mean, the season was over, though, so there wouldn't be new episodes to the season. It would just be the OVA.
The way it showed it as like episodes 12 and 13 or...
Yeah, and all the previous OVAs were tacked on to the end of the season, too, like that.
Well, I watched it again.
Yeah, we did. I enjoyed it.
The third one.
Thoroughly. Yeah, but the third one hasn't been added yet, right?
But I won't watch it without.
Like, I think we're still waiting on that one. Do we know when that one is added? Did they give a date?
Well, I don't. I'll have to look it up.
Okay. But, you know, it was normal Konosuba madness. It's like exactly what you expect from the series now. And they all had to be little one-off things because I believe none of the OVAs have been canon to the light novels or even the manga adaptation of the light novel. They're just something the studio makes to fill time, and you know, that means whatever plot happens has to be wrapped up by the end of it, and it has to like zero back out so that when the next bit starts, it doesn't interfere with it.
Apparently, it was in Japanese theaters in March.
Yeah. I saw that. Some of the stuff is so big that they will actually just release them in theaters. And Japanese theaters aren't quite like ours, where unless you get a special screening, you only get feature-length films in there. They will just outright put episodes. Maybe they'll double feature the episode, or like all three of them, or whatever would have been played at the same time to equal a feature-length film. But you could go and watch something that's like 45 minutes long, and it'll debut in a theater in Japan. Which I guess is kind of how movies used to be here, if you went far enough back. Our film and theater industry have just grown big enough that they don't want to deal with that anymore unless you have a special screening.
Yeah. Well, this is very confusing because there were 2 OVAs, but like there was only talk of one.
I only heard of one.
Yeah, and then they're talking about 2 more coming in July.
Now, like I said, when I first was reading it, I chalked this up to a translation error because there are no plurals in Japanese. So some of the people that translated it probably saw OVA and just didn't pick up the context that they were talking about more than one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and here's an article on Game Rant that calls it a 2-episode OVA, as if they were related.
Yeah.
Completely separate.
Yeah, but they're being sold on the same Blu-ray. So it's kind of like if you got a direct-to-video episode of Pokemon or something back in the day, there would actually be 2 episodes on the VHS. I think that's what it is. Like, they're completely unrelated stories, but they would have been packaged together.
Yeah. So it does look like these 2 are it for now.
Mm-hmm.
And then there may be 2 more coming.
It's weird that we still call it OVAs. Even though, I mean, I guess it still works because the word is just video, right? And they are still videos. They actually had a different name for them after it switched from video cassette to DVD for a while. And I believe it was OAD for original anime disc instead of original video anime. But that just didn't take, so people still just call them OVAs, even though they're not going to be on a video cassette anymore. And it barely does anybody actually buy the Blu-ray. They just go and watch it on a streaming service. And if everything goes straight to streaming now, like from your perspective, everything's like an OVA, or there's just no difference, right?
Yeah. I mean, it, for all intents and purposes, could have just been 2 more episodes for that season.
Yeah.
There is talk of a project involving Sylvia,
Okay.
who was in the previous season's OVA, or actually movie.
The movie, yeah.
The movie. But nobody knows if it's going to be, she's just going to be prominent in season 4, or if there's going to be a sequel movie to the last one she was in.
I don't know myself, right? Like even considering what I know of the source material, I would not be able to guess which one they would decide to do there.
They do seem to be hinting at a movie, another feature length.
I would think that would fit very well because it doesn't look like they're going to be doing a season this year, right? We're just getting these little direct-to-video additions. So a movie would fit more in line with that, and then you just have another season afterwards.
Yeah, because they tweeted that they just said new anime, which I'm guessing are these small OVAs, and sequel projects production decision.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows what that means? Turn on. Come on. Maybe.
So yeah, we got two different little plots. I think I liked the second one more than the first one. Even though I did enjoy both of them. The first one was like your classic beach episode. I guess what you call it. It's the stereotypical trope of the beach episode that every anime ever basically has, right? They even need an excuse just to get all the girls into bikinis and such, and even the guys were in their swimsuits. In fact, the plot of the episode was playing into that so heavily that like the guys needed an excuse in the episode to get the girls into bathing suits. It was like the whole thing. It happens annually. There's like this spirit who kind of becomes a witch during this time, and she needs to expel her excess mana, and when they get her to drain enough energy, she rewards the guys by sending a gust of wind that will basically take off whatever you're wearing. That gets foiled I won't spoil how it gets foiled because it's still new. You can go find out yourself what happens, but I don't think it is a spoiler to say it gets foiled because it's Konosuba.
Yeah.
The everything kind of like blue balls you at the end. It's kind of the point of the series. But the second one, they actually encounter like a doppelganger group of themselves who heard about their adventures and thought that they were the ripoffs, the cheap knockoffs, until they found out that no, they're awful people. They don't know that. They refuse to believe the rumors now. But it's like, what few talents they have, they are just so good at their talents. There's like, no, if anything, we're the ones that people were mistaking for. We're sorry. No, all these rumors have to be lies. And it was a pretty fun little episode. I liked it because the other guys, they did seem to be legit adventurers. They weren't as strong as the Konosuba crew, but like none of them had the same particulars. They just seemed like normal. Yeah, we're out to help people.
They all had very, typically heroic backstories and motivation. I was seeing that, like, I guess some famous voice actors were playing the new characters.
I had heard that.
All I can find are the Japanese voice actors. They haven't done the dub yet.
Well, I assume they were talking about the Japanese voice actors were the pretty famous ones, which in regard,
I guess
voice actors in Japan are more of celebrities than voice actors here are. Like, they are treated as celebrities like any other actor is in general. They actually treat them with respect, which is probably why they're better, right? They have entire schools for voice acting and stuff over there. While here is we kind of just hire any guy to do it, and you're like, well, of course these people are gonna end up being lunatics. They have no respect for their own industry that nobody has respect for.
Yeah, this guy's been in a lot of video games and shows. This is the Ozuma, who's the
other Sato.
doppelganger, is Tetsu Inada, and it looks like he's been in a lot of Kamen Rider.
Oh yeah, that's super popular series. Like, it's during its entire history, it's never waned in popularity.
Oh, he's the voice of Zenlon in Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. Who's a sort of bonus boss at the end.
Yeah, so there was something to talk about bringing up Kazuma's last name that bothered me. Kazuma immediately put together that Megumi, whose name is very close to Megumin, but has an actual common Japanese name, must have been the granddaughter of somebody who got isekai'd there, since a lot of people do. And he, was the one who basically gave her name. She even said, it's like, it was a name my grandfather liked. He's like, oh, it must have been a Japanese guy. But it's like, didn't mention anything about the other Sato having to be related to somebody who is isekai'd or whatever, because that's like a Japanese last name. That's why Kazuma has his name. And it's like, this guy has the same surname as Kazuma. No mention of that at all.
I thought it was different.
I thought they were both Sato.
Slightly different. I don't think so. Let me see the name of the characters. Is Zato with a Z.
Oh, okay.
So Azuma Zato.
Yeah, I probably wasn't reading it too much, and I just heard him say it, and like, but if a Japanese person says like a retracted S and a Z, they sound the same. It's only if it's got that like hard kind of like T sound in front of it, like in Tsunami and stuff. That's the only time those sounds start to sound different.
Yeah. And there was Aqua with a C.
Akira.
Akira.
Yeah.
Akira? Gear with an E at the end. Megumi, and then they called her Rackless, but I'm seeing Luckless, so I don't know. There's a similar...
again, it's Japanese. The R and the L
Yeah.
is the same letter, so it's context on how it should be said.
But she talked the least. Like we
Yep.
didn't even get her backstory.
Who?
I don't think.
So we got.
No, we did get her. We did.
We didn't get Akira's backstory at all.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, she seemed the most like Darkness. Apparently, they had the exact same paladin intro. So, of course, she thought Darkness was a ripoff.
Yeah, but one of
Reckless.
them actually acted like a paladin and had a backstory that you're like, I get why this person did it. Well, Darkness is kind of just a rich girl that's LARPing. She's like, I say LARPing. She's actually kind of good at what she does as long as all you need is a meat shield. She can't hit anybody worth a crap. But it's like she doesn't need to be doing this. She doesn't have any strong motivation other than, I don't like my life, so I'm going to go do this stuff instead.
And she likes being, hit and humiliated.
Yes.
She's a massive. Perfect for paladin. It was, yeah, I like the second one better too, especially when Kazuma, he's convinced that they, are coming to scold them or something, because of their terrible reputation, and so he changes his name, and then he doesn't take him to the usual pub. He takes him to the place where he gets deep fried frog tongue.
Yeah, he called himself Tanaka, which is like the third most common surname in Japan, but nobody there would know that. It would just be like a foreign name to them. Maybe, I don't know. Enough people might have gotten isekai'd throughout the history of that land that maybe Tanaka is a not totally rare but completely uncommon name. It's hard to know.
Joshua wants to know, was Narnia the first story about people getting isekai'd into a fantasy world?
No. I'm trying to remember some of the names off the top of my head. There's a lot of portal stories about going into other worlds, going all the way back into ancient times. You've got people walking into other lands from crossing fairy circles, getting passed through the mist. Some of Gulliver's Travel is almost isekai as well, but that's a more modern story, comparatively speaking. But you have things that are similar to that, where people will wash into the ocean and they'll wash ashore into another land. Yeah, Oz was also before Narnia. Thank you for bringing that up, Fizchozo. But I'm thinking of stuff that's like even older than that. I just can't remember a lot of their names off the top of my head. There's this old Greek story. I think it was Greek, or maybe it was Roman, but it's back in pre-Renaissance, maybe even pre-Dark Ages. It's like antiquity, but near the end of it, where they go to other planets. It's almost like a Princess of Mars type thing. Like they actually leave Earth in a vessel and go into the stars, and it has a lot of those isekai other world stories too. So it's a very pervasive type of storytelling, because no matter what time you find yourself in, everybody finds themselves wanting to escape somewhere extravagant.
Yeah.
Right. Even a lot of old Norse stories have going to other realms, and it's not that strange.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching a reverse isekai.
Oh yeah, where people come here.
Yeah, called Yandere Dark Elf. She chased me all the way from another world. And that's interesting.
Oh, I mean,
That's
you seem interested in it, though. Everything you've told me about it has yet to sell me on it, but you just watched a new episode last night, right?
There were 2 episodes,
Oh.
actually. So I don't know if I missed a week or if 2 episodes came out at the same time. But, yeah, it's getting, well, I guess you could call it ecchi, especially because they blank out the most,
Oh, see,
naughty bits.
I knew it was ecchi before you even watched it, and all I heard was the name of it. Like I said before, just because a yandere character's in something doesn't mean it's going to be explicitly sexual, or even implicitly. But if you put it in the title, you know it's going to be something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it there was some nudity at the beginning. Obviously, again, parts blanked out, but it didn't really get explicit until about episode 3, I think. Yeah, episode. But and it was, it's kind of a shame because like episode 2 ended on a very wholesome note because the dark elf finally found a friend, like this girl that's interested in the boy that she wants. Turned out to be a big fan of manga and anime, and so she immediately recognized her as an elf and was fascinated that she was real. And so it looked like they were.
It's so weird though, right? Because realistically, you don't even have to be really into something. Like, maybe you'd think somebody was cosplaying is what you would think in real life. But if you saw somebody walking around with big ears like that, you would think either A, they're pretending to be an elf, or B, somehow an actual elf showed up. You wouldn't think they were just some weird person with, like, ear mutations or something, unless you were, like, a really, really skeptical person. Like, most people want to believe shit so much to be like, if you're not a cosplayer, you're an actual elf.
Right. Well, this girl believes immediately, but it's like the guy's trying to get her to sort of blend in and like become he's joining him at school, becoming a student and everything, and then she starts to play volleyball, which she's terrible at first, and then he tells her he was hoping that that she would impress him, and then she uses magic and become the most fantastic volleyball player ever. And then she gets hurt, and for some reason he takes her to the nurse's office. For some reason he's the one like bandaging her foot. She like twisted her ankle. Like, not
when you think the
no
nurse would be
there.
doing it, yeah. Or like even the coach, like if you were doing something, most coaches are either a PT, like a physical trainer, or there's a physical trainer on campus somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like you could go to the nurse's office, but if you had that type of injury, you would want to go to whoever the physical trainer is first, because they're the ones that are supposed to handle those type of injuries.
Right. Well, she obviously she has him alone in this room. Of course, they live together, so it's like, why do this at school? But that's when it gets, very, very close. Oh,
because it's actually all about the risk,
level,
right? That's what they want, right?
That's true. But gets interrupted by his other female friend. But then they go home afterwards, and sort of the same thing starts to happen, and they get interrupted by her other friend from the fantasy world. So it turns out the government of this fantasy world have believe that something terrible is going to result in her being in the real world, I guess, or in our world. And they sent this priest and this cat girl to go get her back and bring her back. But so now it's the plot thickened. But
I don't know. It actually sounds like it's thinning.
Well, the guy basically tells them, he'll take responsibility. He wants her to stay. But then you find out when it gets hot and heavy again, the priest basically put a spell on his crotch, I guess, that whenever she gets near it, this white or yellow kind of magical, it's basically a magical
the chastity belt.
What do you call it? A chastity belt. So she's foiled. She's foiled all that. So we'll see what happens next. Yeah. Oh, and then they moved in next door. So now they got normal clothes, and now.
But why are they going to school?
Why are the? Well, I don't know that they're going to go to. I mean, I imagine
even like the main character. If I came back from another world, I don't care if I had to resume my life or whatever. The last thing I'd be doing after an adventure like that is going back to school. You know, like.
Well, he looks like he's about. He's about 14, it looks like.
I don't care. If I came back at 14, I would not be going back to school. After I just had that whole adventure and I picked up all these like skills and stuff, you're gonna struggle to force me to go back to school.
He wants to go be with his friends or something.
God, that's actually probably the biggest turn off. Well, there's several things that are turning me off from the premise of the show, but the fact that like he goes to school, God, I hate school shows so much. There's some that I love. But, like, you have to be extra good for me to put up with the fact that the setting is school. Because it's, like, the least interesting place on the planet. You know, a show about a museum would be more interesting than a show about a school.
Okay, so I was wondering why he didn't have any parents. Apparently he is an orphan who lives by himself.
See, if I was an orphan, you'd struggle even more to get me to school. No, there's nobody who can guilt me into it. High school's not even mandatory in Japan.
Oh, he's supposed to be 16. Well, he's a very small 16.
I was a pretty small 16-year-old, too.
Yeah. And I don't know how old... Maria Bell is supposed to be. She looks quite developed.
Joshua asks, don't 50% of anime take place in school? I don't know if it's as high as 50. There's a very, very large chunk, though. It's probably somewhere between 20 and 40. I don't know the exact number, but it is a plurality of anime take place in school. Especially stuff that don't even have, say, like a source material that they're adapting. A lot of the stuff that is just made straight for TV takes place in school. And it's like a big part of, I mean, it's a big part of everyone's life here. That's why there's also a lot of like cartoons and live action series for kids that take place in school. But man, most of it sucks. Here and there, a lot of it sucks. If you want to pick some of the stuff that just is not good, you could throw a dart at something that takes place in school and it's probably on the list. Now, some of the best stuff also takes place in school, but I feel like the more you focus on school, which maybe this one doesn't, like you said, there's like an injury and they use an excuse to go to the nurse's office. Some of the better ones, they pretty much just subvert school and use it purely as a setting. The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya is one of that, where occasionally a scene will take place in class, but it's all about the club activity after school. Or probably the best one that takes place in school is Azumanga Daioh, but that's like one of those top tier things that you can barely compare anything to.
Well, Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai is also takes place in high school.
Yeah, but all the most interesting parts
pretty
recommend. Much take place outside of school, except for when he's talking to that science girl in the lab. But that is like a separate room. It's not like it's taking place in the classroom or anything.
Well, there's a part where he dates this girl Koga. That a lot of it takes place in high school, but I guess a lot of it takes place outside. Like,
yeah,
they go to the beach and stuff. But that's a cute show. It's 100% wholesome. It's the cutest show. I love it. If anyone's interested. But, someone was pointing out on Twitter or X that people who freak out about high school shows being, whatever, bait for people who like young people, complain just as much about Uzaki-chan.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring up that when Fizz said that it always takes place in high school, never elementary school, never middle school, or even college, which there are actually several shows that take place in all of those categories. But Uzaki-chan, which was super popular, is a show that took place in college itself. And everybody was like, this stupid high school show. It's like, it's not even high school. You don't even know the premise of the show, and you're making fun of it, but which is fine. That's most people don't know the premise of anything and they make fun of it. But it's like, no, it's not a high school show. Another one that I like, I wouldn't call it good.
19.
Right. Yeah, I think she's like 19. They're like just got to college. But there's a series that I like, not even good. I don't even think I would recommend it to other people. I just like it because I watched it when I was in high school, and I kind of have like a little attachment to it. And it's the series Chobits. That's another one that takes place at college or college age. It's a college prep school because he couldn't make it into college after he came to the city. So he has to kind of do like this junior prep school to try to get into college the next year. But there's quite a few series that take place in college.
Split scene Chobits.
Yeah. He says, hypothesis. Most anime is just hentai that's been toned down just enough to be shown on TV/streaming services. I mean, Chobits would probably fall into that category. I don't know if I'd say most, but there's definitely a lot of manga and anime are very much that. That actually might be closer to 50%, I don't know, than the other category. But I would actually say that's almost everything to some degree. Like, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that aren't quite like that. But, like, you go to American animation, and almost everybody who works on everything wants to be drawing sex and adult humor and adult stuff all the time, and they have to be kept in line by the production companies. We were talking about this. It's kind of common knowledge that all of the major production companies, Warner Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, / Universal, Disney, they have like vaults of just porn illustrations and comics and stuff of their properties that the artists make while they're on the job. And they're like, well, we can't let you keep this. We can't let this out. This is our property. It could be damaging. We just have to collect it into file cabinets. And the vaults are just filled with file cabinets that are to the brim with sexy pictures of your favorite cartoon characters. And it's just like the type of people who are artists and go into animation. Like it attracts that type of person, and a lot of times it's editorial that has to keep them in check.
Well, they didn't do a good job on this show keeping them in check.
Yeah. Well, it also depends on what your demographic and age range. And Japan, there is slightly less keeping in check than here because they have, I guess, more respect for the younger audience. They think they can handle things that they don't think you can handle here.
Well, not this show. This is definitely for mature audiences.
Yes.
Only, I'm pretty sure. So, not for the faint of heart, I would say. But I'm interested to see where it goes. I also watched the opposite of the end of the spectrum for a couple of episodes until I kind of puked and turned it off. And that was, what was it called? I fought slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level.
Oh, yeah, that one. Did it get weird?
Mm-hmm. No, it was just so sickly sweet.
Oh,
and
okay. Well, you said it almost puked and turned it off. I'm like, well, that sounds like it got wrong, but
no. It didn't go wrong. Like every character is just sweet as can be and pure and innocent, and I'm like, what is this? Like, nothing's happening. Just there's barely any conflict. It's just everyone getting along. And this is a show for like fragile children or something. Just wasn't very interesting. Maybe more happens later. Maybe.
Yeah, Fizz says in the original smut manga of Yandere Elf, which in this case I would agree with him that it does seem like to be a smut manga. He thinks he was actually a kid and was just aged up for the show. I don't know if that's true. I've never looked at it, but it sounds plausible. Joshua says they also poorly hide their fetishes in cartoons. Yeah. When I was younger, because I would always talk to my dad about this, I picked up on it a lot sooner than most of my contemporaries did, right? Other people my age. But that's because he let me watch things like SNL with him when I was only 7 years old. So I was kind of exposed to this stuff earlier than a lot of my classmates were. And I was like, why do they put all this adult humor and innuendos and gags and stuff in cartoons? Because we'd watch a lot of cartoons together. And his reasoning was always, oh, well, it's because parents have to watch the shows with their kids, so it's a little humor for the parents. And I believed that for maybe 16 years of my life until I started learning more about the animation industry. And I'm like, no, I think that's just a pleasant byproduct for the adults that have to watch it with their kids. That humor isn't for anyone but the people working on the show. That's why that's in there. It's the type of stuff they wish they were writing.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
which you then see
when someone recommend
Seth MacFarlane, who worked on Johnny Bravo, which is a show that has a lot of innuendo in it, and then he goes to work on Family Guy, and obviously that was the type of show he wishes he was writing the whole time, but he had to make a show for kids.
Yeah. But yeah, those are two shows that go in completely opposite directions. Probably not from. One's great for kids, I'm sure, and the other not so much. But
yeah,
I'm trying out new things.
It's good that you're trying out new things.
The Bunny Girl one, obviously I was like, ooh, it's a Bunny Girl. I want to watch that. Turned out to be the most amazing to me. I don't know what you call it, sort of
drama.
Yeah, it's a drama and with some weird existential craziness going on, but
yeah, it's definitely the sci-fi drama. It's just low-level sci-fi.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's sweet because I'm watching again with Peach right now, and it's kind of neat how after the first whatever it is 3 episodes when he finally announces his love for Sakurajima, from that point forward they're just together, just she teases him a lot and everything. It's just oh, they're together forever. It's just other crazy things happen. He has to date this other girl for a while.
Mm-hmm.
All this other stuff, but it's no, they're gonna end up together. It's really so. But I've talked about that before.
Yeah, we talked about the entire season of that one, I think, at length after we finished it, which that was an all right one. I didn't dislike it. I thought it had its high point moments. It's not like there have been several shows I've watched in my life that I kind of regret watching. That's not on the list.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the? I think I already asked you this, but you haven't watched the Spy Family Code White yet.
We watched it together and talked about it on the show a week ago.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Can't remember who's seen what. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of stuff we watched. What else did you watch this?
So I was telling you about it yesterday, after you had come back for the short time that you were back. I watched, I think it was 8 days old when I got to it, Glitch's new pilot, which I believe is called The Gaslight District. And I had mixed opinions on it, but I watched a bunch of Glitch's other stuff. I watched Murder Drones. We watch and discuss The Amazing Digital Circus. So I'm like, okay, they put up a pilot. I'll watch it. It's not even actually just because it's Glitch. I'll watch almost any pilot of a smaller company or indie on the internet, but I'm subscribed to them. So eventually it ended up in my feed. Somebody didn't have to tell me about it. And it's kind of... Yeah, it's called Gaslight District. I thought it was Gaslight District. And yeah, I had a lot of mixed opinions on it. The main plot is how that it's kind of this... I don't even want to call it a post-apocalyptic. It's a never-ending apocalypse, right? Where it's pretty much those left on Earth. and the people can't die anymore. Like, all the people who are alive, they rot. They're the perpetual sentient zombies, or sapient zombies. They're themselves. They have all their memories and stuff, and they've all kind of become monsters because of it. They're looked over by angels who kind of look like a mix between crows and vultures, like this just generalized dark carrion bird. And there was a human born of an angel who is going to be the kind of key to bringing the apocalypse finally to a close, to ending the rot. And that human happens to be one of the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember where my chain of thought was. Oh, but she's pretending to be one of the rotting people. But that doesn't matter until like the end of the episode.
When you first described it to me, I envisioned something a bit more realistic and gruesome, but it is
it's very
basically stop motion. It looks like stop motion.
Trying to look like it was a Tim Burton production in many ways.
Yeah, looks like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, Rotlings. Thank you. Yeah, you could tell that, or Corpse Bride, or it's just like pulling from that style. I like a lot of the designs in it. I think the designs are pretty fun, pretty creative. I like even some of the characters themselves are all right. The writing leaves a little bit to ask for, a little bit wanting. The pacing overall was pretty fine, though. The pilot was done in parts, almost like you're watching a play. So after a part happens, there'll be like a little title sequence that says the next part with the title, and it goes into it. That wasn't bad. But it's like one of those things where the dialogue is just flat, right? It kind of matches the character, but it just doesn't flow well. And it was a heist plan that she came up with. It was like, if we steal an actual angel egg, pretend it's the human egg, and break it, then people won't think I'm the human. We can get all suspicion off of me. There were aspects that were fun, but then also there was parts of the animation that bothered me while I was watching it. And it was moments where they're trying to look like they're stop motion, and it just makes the animation look jittery and janky. And I get that that's like an artistic decision, but there was also a lot of stuff that didn't look like it could have been in one of those stop motion pictures, and all of it just didn't mesh very well visually.
So I take it you would say that it is not as good as Amazing Digital Circle.
Yeah, I would probably go with that. I think it potentially could have been better. It's all of like an execution issue. Like I want to give it like just as a pilot a 6 or 7 out of 10, but I think I'm dropping it down to a 5. It just ended up being average, mediocre.
Yeah. Well, it is impressive animation, but
yeah.
As Joshua says, that's a problem with animator-driven cartoons. It looks good, but the writing is usually bad.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say it's bad, but it's just like, it is average. It is almost like it's slopped together. Like, you could tell that there's a vision there, but it's not constructed very well. And it just kind of gives you this mid-experience. But that could also just be my interpretation. It's a free pilot you can watch on YouTube. Go watch it yourself. I see some people in the chat have already watched it and have their opinions. But if you're watching the VOD later, go form your own opinion on it. You could say I'm completely wrong. Heck, I'd love the comment engagement. But that's just how I viewed it. Maybe if they actually pick up past the pilot and there is an episode 2, my opinion might change. Not on the pilot, but on the series as a whole. I do like the main character, though. I wish it was written a little better. because like the main character did seem kind of fun. And she seemed to be the only one that's partially like millennial writing in there amongst a lot of other characters that just seem more single note, but reminiscent of background characters in cartoons that you're used to, like Powerpuff Girls or something like that.
He'll sell billions of plushies.
Yeah, it was another thing. There was like an
What
ad
was
for a
the point
plushie.
Is there any point of Breadhead outside of looking weird?
Only that his original head was replaced with bread. So one of the things about the rotlings is that they are rotting, and if something breaks or whatever, they don't die. So they just start replacing their body parts with other things.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of interesting concepts with it.
Including their head.
And there's a lot of series that end up being good that the pilot just didn't do it justice, which is sad because that's like the entire point of a pilot is to try to sell the series to people. And maybe it's because the pilot was the origin. I think this is a flaw that a lot of not just animators on the internet in general, but specifically Glitch has done with all of their series. And it's a problem that I guess you would call them either a colleague or a competitor. VivziePop has too, and a bunch of these other colleagues. They always start their pilot as the origin or the first episode of the show. And I get it. I get why you want to do that. Because from a creator, you're like, if it hits, I can just roll from here. This is chapter 1. We can go. But that doesn't mean it's going to be the best thing that sells your show. Sometimes if you look at pilots for other series, it could be like episode 8 in season 1. It could be something that was planned for season 3. And the pilot's still just out there by itself because the show only had 2 seasons, or you just don't even see it till way later. And it's because that was the episode that sold your idea the best. And I think most of these people, it's because all they have is a roadmap. They don't actually have scripts for anything past the pilot.
Yeah. I thought the pilot for Amazing Digital Circus was great because it
I think it worked
introduced it introduced the main character as being, sort of the outsider, sort of learning about this weird world.
Well, and I think
get what you're saying. I mean, they could have done that as
sometimes episode 1 is a good pilot, but not always.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, they don't know if it's going to be a hit, or they don't know if it's going to be just a dud. So,
and there's a lot of complications,
start at the beginning.
that I get. It's like, well, what if a mystery is a big part of the show? We don't want to ruin parts of the mystery by giving you spoilers, because a lot of the traditional pilots were never meant for the public to see, unless the show caught up to the pilot. Sometimes the pilot isn't even an episode that will ever be in the series. Like, it's just this one-off thing that will get dumped later, right? But in this case, you are putting something up that you are selling not to a company necessarily, but to an audience. And that is a difference. And I get why even more so you might want to start with episode 1. I just still don't always think that's the right idea.
Well, I mean, it's been sort of the first episode of any series has been called a pilot for decades. So, I don't know.
Well, I'll say that's not always the case. Now, a lot of times it is. But like Scrubs, for example, I don't even think they're pilots in the first season.
Oh.
Right. And there's a lot of shows that is the case. Like the episode that they end up showing to the network to sell it is often not the first episode.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
At any rate, this is. I don't know. Do you think I should watch it? 26
Yeah, I think you should.
minutes,
Probably. I mean, again, I think it was like 23 minutes. It was It's like a normal show length. It's worth at least giving it a chance, because you might come on next time and be like, I think you're wrong. I actually thought it was pretty good. And that could be a good discussion.
Sure. I will say the Yandere Dark Elf show is 12 minutes each episode. They're very short.
It's almost like a webisode.
Yeah. Except it's already on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up with this this cruise glitch? Where did they come from?
I don't know. They've been around for a while.
Well, they seem very talented. I don't have anything else to say about it.
I don't either. That's the thing too, is like that was all I had to talk about. And we're coming up to almost an hour of the show, and I said at the beginning, it's like, listen, we barely have anything to talk about. When we run out of it, you're gonna know, and we're just gonna have to vamp for like the next 30 minutes. I did bring up a couple things, but they're not particularly interesting, and they're just stuff we've talked about over and over again.
Yeah, there's not much. I didn't understand when, like, what's his name? The Chibi Reviews was saying that this is like the time of year when all these new anime shows are. I guess there are a bunch of new ones, but ones that I've never heard of. Not particularly interested.
So there are different points where just like all the new seasonal stuff comes out, and we are deep into that spring season, but that doesn't mean good stuff is coming out. So you get a spring, summer, fall, and kind of like a winter drop. And a lot of times the winter drop is really just the continuation of the fall, because some of the like premiere seasons come out in fall, and they'll take a break for Christmas or whatever, and then they'll come back in the winter, which we've watched a few of those. But I don't know. We looked at the stuff that was coming out this year, and it looked pretty dry up until maybe fall. And we don't even know if some of the best stuff is even coming out. It's just kind of speculated.
There's a new trailer for Dan to Dan Season 2.
Oh, yippee. I mean, I'm going to watch it, but my opinion of Dan to Dan has remained that it's kind of mid. It's just something to watch.
Yeah. When is Delicious in Dungeon coming back?
I don't know. Like I said, that was one of those premiere seasons where it was the fall continuing through winter. It was long enough that it took a break, but I haven't seen any news about it. If it does come back, it's going to be in the fall. And same with, like, I think when Freerun comes back, it'll be fall. One Punch Man's probably going to be October, so that's the fall season. Like, a lot of the stuff we're waiting on is going to be the fall season, if it even comes out this year. One Punch Man, though, I think has been confirmed that it's coming out this year. One of the other ones, Ranma, is going to be the summer, because that's where it was last time. So we're kind of just waiting on that. But no, it's a pretty dry season as far as interesting things for this year. Like, the only thing we were waiting on for spring, we just watched.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about One Piece episode 1127?
Listen, man, you'd have to pay me to care about One Piece at this point, okay? Yeah.
Well, I started watching the spin-off to Konosuba, which is what is it called?
Explosion onto this world.
World.
Yeah.
Which is sort of the prequel story of Megumin. And it's good. It takes place in high school, at least the first half. But then she graduates. Apparently, the way you graduate from Mage High School is by learning magic. Like,
I would assume so.
Your first spell. Yeah.
Yeah.
All you have to do is learn one spell, and
Oh.
basically by
So
choosing
Mike has
one
the actual
on
months
your little card.
Here, which I had the seasons right. I just didn't put down any of the months. Spring is April, which is where we currently are. The summer will be July is usually when things come out. Fall will be October. Winter will be January. Which I did mention October with One Punch Man. But I didn't have the other ones down. And it's also not as cut as it used to be because of streaming services. So sometimes things will drop in the middle of a season instead of being on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Bakuretsu, la la la.
I do keep hearing stuff about this Kowloon generic romance, but
That sounds
I don't
awful.
know. I think it's a girly show.
Like,
yeah, it says something about episode 4 is where it starts to get brain melty, but I'm like, what does that mean? Crazy stuff happen?
I don't know. Sometimes it's like, oh, that's where you just veg out and you enjoy it. That's what brain melty sounds to me, like your brain's turning to pudding. But I don't think I would want to watch a show that has generic in the title. That's a complete turnoff. Of like, you're not selling me your show with the title here.
Yeah, that's true. But apparently it is sort of like it's a sci-fi show that there's this thing, I guess maybe like a planet called Generic Terra floating above the Earth, and it's trying to replicate Earth, but you don't know if the Earth that you're watching is the replica or the original. So I don't know. Apparently, it does get into some weird, crazy sci-fi stuff.
I don't know.
You're right. Poorly named.
So it's not selling it for me.
Something sci-fi generic. Oh well. Maybe I'll just have to watch it and let you know if it's any good.
Yeah. But it's a pretty dry year, I think, overall. At least until fall. Fall looks like it's going to pick up. Maybe some good things will be in the summer. But this whole first half of the year just seemed pretty dry when we were looking at the release schedule back in January.
Mm-hmm. Well,
As far as like movies go, though, outside of animation,
Right.
were you the one that watched Sisu? I knew somebody who watched Sisu, but I can't remember who. Which was that
know what that is.
World War II era kind of like revenge movie with the old man? Maybe it was
No,
Dillard. So
I
I
don't-
remember it was in one of like Dillard's hangouts one time. Somebody was talking about it, but I cannot remember who I was talking to about it. And I said I was going to watch it. I just have never gotten around to. And maybe I should, because apparently it is getting a sequel. And
Okay.
a lot of the pre-production notes about it seem pretty fun. And it's like, just making me think. I'm still missing out on the first one. It sounds good, and I said I'd watch it. And like, why didn't I? I just never got around to watching it. I should see if it's on one of the streaming networks that we have.
See, they're working on a Miami Vice remake.
I don't think that can be good.
No, I don't think so. Terrible. Although even the movie news is like people talking about old movies.
It's because there's nothing good that's new. You want to talk about all the stuff Disney's ruining for like the umpteenth time?
Well, the Alita Battle Angel director wants to do another one, but isn't currently, so that's not much news.
I'm trying to remember. Isn't that Cameron? Is he the producer on it?
He might have been the producer.
I know he was heavily involved in it.
Who was the director?
I think.
Yeah. Robert Rodriguez was the director.
Oh my god, that's such a good team between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Alita.
Anyone
It was a
else got
little
anything to
off,
talk about?
but it was a pretty good movie. I think it was close enough to matter. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that? Just says it's like a cookie named Cookie.
Yeah. Would you, if you went to the store?
I didn't.
and you went and got a generic cookie that its title was just cookie, would you actually buy that?
Probably not.
Yeah. See, Mike says, interesting trivia tidbit might be interested in is that 100 years ago, Pat Sullivan's Felix Outwits Cupid released in theaters. I like Felix the Cat. Felix the Cat is probably still my favorite cartoon character. He was when I was a kid. I drew him like thousands of times because he's a very easy character to draw in every single pose. Like once you get his general shapes down, you can basically just draw him any way you want. And he's a fun character. He's always had fun stories. Though it took me a long time before I went back and watched his older stuff just because it was never on TV. It's hard to come by. Thanks to the internet later on, it was easy to go and find like the actual black and white Felix like movies and shows, the old Nickelodeons. But I ended up watching reruns of, I think, the 60s cartoon. Whenever they introduced his Bag of Tricks was the stuff I originally watched. And there was like a movie, I think, in like 1990 or sometime close to that. That also had like Felix's Bag of Tricks and a lot of the characters from that era. That was pretty good, actually. I went back and rewatched it a few years ago, and it holds up. But the best stuff is the classic black and white cartoons because it's one of those oddball cartoons. He's kind of like the first cartoon character in animation, I think, where you just have no idea what's going to happen. You know, you get hit a wall and liquefy or whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah. Well, I heard a nasty rumor that the Superman movie is going to be centered around internet trolls making him feel bad.
Well, if that's true, I don't know if that is or not, but it kind of makes me not want to watch the movie.
Yeah. It's awful. I'm hoping it's just a false rumor.
The thing about Superman is, I'm sure there is a part of him that would feel a little down if the people he was helping didn't like him, but he's also at the same time above that. So even if he felt down, it wouldn't actually affect him or what he was doing at all, because that's not why he's doing it.
True.
I feel like Billy Batson and Shazam would be more susceptible to something like cancel culture or bullying than Superman would be, because he's still like a kid at his core, like a middle schooler, maybe high schooler. I forgot if they aged him up in the most recent movie, but I think he was originally 12. But like he would be the hero that you would want to use for that, because it's like, you know, what's the point if everybody hates me? I don't feel like you could do that with Superman.
Any news on this Spider-Man 4 Brand New Day? Looks
I
like
hope
there's gonna
not.
be a Spider-Gwen. See Spider-Gwen.
I don't like Spider-Gwen. I mean, I like the way she looks in her outfit, you know? That's separate. I don't like the concept of the character.
And Ralph Breaks the Internet?
Dude, Ralph Breaks the Internet is a fever dream to me that I don't want to remember.
Oh. I never saw it, but I heard, yeah, that's like he gets obsessed about internet comments or something.
Mm.
I swear some of these things are just the writers' poorly hidden angst about themselves or something.
Yeah, it's their therapy stories where they're trying to like work out their problems through what they're writing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I only even saw maybe 70% of Ralph Breaks the Internet because I saw it on TV later. I don't want to remember it. It was what I did see was bad.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of it. Oh.
It's like it's
We
one of
wrap
those
it up
things
or
where
what?
you want to kind of just sever it from the original because you still just want to enjoy the original. And you're like, I don't want you ruining my experience in the original. Go over there in the back of the shelf.
Yeah. Oh well. Outside of movies and anime, the Yellow Flash book is out. The Mighty Golden.
Yeah, I don't remember if
Patriot.
we talked about that, but I know we said it was coming out, but I think it came out between shows. So yeah, it's official out. You can go and you can get your pre-order like right now.
Yeah.
I think they did more amazing than most campaigns did their whole run in just like 2 days.
Yeah, they sold 2,000 copies since Friday at least. So what, three and a half days, something like that. I will say I very much dislike the preview little animated thing that is up on the Ripa Send website.
Oh yeah.
They did a really terrible job selling this book, unfortunately. And Dillard's preview video
Was better.
is 10,000 times better. So much better. I mean,
I didn't watch the
watch-
preview at first, right? So I just saw like a plane flying that vaguely looked like the art from the book. I'm like, oh, they must have used Dillard's preview. So I just retweeted it on the Vomitorium, not thinking about it. Then I went back and rewatched it. I'm like, this is not what I thought it was.
It's awful. I mean, like, I guess you can sort of tell that it has a little bit higher production value than Dillard's, but not much. And they get it wrong from the first line of the preview. It starts out, it's 1945. No, it's not. The book takes place in 1942. It's so stupid. And I watched it a second time and realized they don't even show the hero in his superhero outfit until 40 seconds into a 60-second preview video. I'm like, they're selling this as like a World War II drama, and I'm like, no, it's a superhero book.
It's very much like I would say it's kind of like between a Western hero and like a Sentai, like a Kamen Rider thing. Like it's got the look of like a Henshin Tokusatsu style hero. It actually kind of almost looks like something between the Green and Gold Rangers from Mighty Morphin and Zeo of Power Rangers. But a lot of the storytelling definitely has a very Western hero influence on it. And then also it takes place with like this Egyptian origin, which is kind of like almost right in between everything. So it's like all over the map. It's its own unique flair, but it's clearly a superhero story at the end of the day. And it's like not a World War II drama.
And if you watch Dillard's video that he did months ago, it's like the Ripasend one doesn't show the mechs, the really cool Nazi mechs that at least one of them gets commandeered, or like his other superhero friends that are like in mech suits. And I don't know if it barely or maybe not even doesn't even show the bad guy. Maybe briefly, but
it was like it looked like you were selling maybe like an Indiana Jones story almost,
Yeah. 2/3 of it is that, and it's like, wait, that's not what the book is about. Like, people are going to be shocked at how much better the book is than that video. But I wish they would just put Dillard's video up there.
It's almost like the opposite of the marketing for the movie Sucker Punch. Have you ever seen Sucker Punch?
No.
Which is
I've seen Sucker Punch, but I haven't seen the marketing.
Yeah. So Sucker Punch, which is a Snyder flick. Great movie. I love it. I've seen it several times. A lot of people feel like they were burnt by that movie because of the marketing. I like it despite the marketing for the artistic purposes of the movie. But if you watch the marketing, they almost do not show the real world stuff at all. It's pretty much just the kind of like imaginary inside action pieces that are happening, because there's like 3 different layers of the story of Sucker Punch. There's like the actual asylum they're in, then there's a coasted layer where all the planning and the pre-action stuff happens. It's already like an imaginary layer, like the showgirl layer. And then there's another layer underneath it, which is like diving into the individual stories and action sections, like the train scene. And they don't even show like the top 2 layers in the marketing. They only really show the bottom layer. So like this is almost the exact opposite of what Sucker Punch did, where it's showing you the most boring parts and not even like the action thrill parts.
Yeah, like some of the shots that I was on a call with Dillard the other day, and he was showing me some stuff. Most of it I've already seen, but I'm like, oh, they should have put that in the trailer. They should have put that in the trailer. Like they put like these images of like the guy running, and I'm like, what? They're not even showing him in the outfit. Like, you know, that he has like this scene where it shows like his helmet getting smashed slightly and, you know, partially. And
you know how I would have sold it?
There's so many great scenes.
I would have sold it with just a singular scene. And all I would have done is I would have taken the budget, because obviously they have a budget for this. I would go find some competent animators on Newgrounds, which is also going to keep the cost pretty low. And I would have just said, hey, this is what the guy looks like. This is what he looks like after the transformation. This is vaguely what the transformation looks like. We're just going to do like a 20-second long animation scene. And that's going to be the advertisement. And that would be just a Henshin-style transformation. Boom. Would have sold it.
Yeah. Kind of a modern day, you know, He-Man.
Yeah, He-Man, or you know, like one of the things people like about Henshin is the transformation, right? That's why like they don't skimp on the transformation in any of the Kamen Rider series, especially the new ones. The Super Sentai transformations have only gotten more detailed over time as well. It also helps you save on budget, because you can just keep showing the animation over and over again. You don't have to re-record it. But like every episode of Sailor Moon has the transformation in it. That's like common. Magical girls are part of the Henshin kind of transformation genre. You don't skimp on the transformation, because everybody's living. It's like, yes, this is the precursor to the climax, the precursor to the action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, they always showed the entire animation of Voltron coming together
every single time.
It's like, well, we got like whatever that is, 60 seconds or maybe a minute and a half covered in every single episode.
But nobody cares, because they love to see it.
And you love it.
Yeah.
Oh, you loved it. That was the best part, because you knew shit was about to go down. So, man, I you know, they've got time. I really hope they. Frankly, I would just replace it. I would just throw out that one and just say, put Dillard's in.
Yeah, that would be the easier solution. But like, if I was coming at this with the time they had, because clearly they were having this made while they were finishing up the book, because they were preparing this whole marketing campaign, said I would have just found some indie animators that are good at what they do, and I'm just like, hey, this is the budget we have. Let's get a 20-second transformation sequence. I'll have somebody like narrate the beginning and the ending over it or whatever, and then boom, we just have marketing right there.
You know, it's a 90 day sort of pre-sale campaign.
Yeah,
you could do additional trailers, just like movies have, you know, 2 or 3. Like the next one needs to be, like I said, just throw out this first one, just pretend it never existed, and put up John's, and then. Yeah, do a second one with just the transformation, and then to a third one that's even more spectacular, introduces the bad guy, or just you gotta center on the superhero.
Yeah.
Never mind the setting and the time period.
Well, imagine if we were making a story about Captain Marvel / Shazam. And the only thing we ever showed was Billy at school or in the orphanage.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah. And then the last couple seconds, like, oh, and then he becomes this.
and we
superhero,
skipped the
but-
transformation too. It's just him in the superhero form.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think this is supposed to be the marketing team. Come on.
Yeah, I guess.
Not impressed. I'm impressed with the book, but I feel like they could have sold a lot more. They could still sell a lot more.
Well, you know what should also be selling a lot more? Dillard is also running a collected, like, single, square-bound version of basically all of the Buckler to now on Fun by Comic. And so if you want something that's not going to be able to get any marketing, basically at all, other than us pushing it out, you should go and get your collected version of the Buckler. From what I've seen, it has all 4 things: the ash can, Buckler #1, the Arctic one, I can't remember the name of it, Temple of Polar Twilight, I think was the name, and Canadian Tussle, which is Buckler #2. So it's got like all 4 books that he's made so far.
Mm-hmm. Find our show. I can put it in the chat if anyone.
Yeah. Joshua asks, is Rippaverse in charge of the marketing? Yes, that is their entire job here, is to print and market the book so that all parties can make as much money as possible. Rippasend's going to take their cut, the creators are going to get theirs, and they're trying to make this campaign as big as possible, because if this sells better, then it also helps sell the other Rippasend and verse stuff, right? It builds up the brand by having these partners with them. So it's all parties' interest to have the marketing as best as possible, and this just isn't that good. Unlike the book itself.
Yeah. Better. Well, hopefully they will. I've seen other campaigns, and it's a little different from.
Didn't they do like a
Kickstarter,
music
where it's
video like thing for Isom? I vaguely remember there's like an animated, almost like a music video thing.
Is it? I thought that was for a different book.
Maybe it was. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, there. It's not going to be like Kickstarter where it's like, okay, this is, this. You get all your sales in the first, couple of days, and then it's like nothing.
Yeah.
Right up until the very end. This could be just ongoing the whole time, because it's, I don't know, that's the way they're marketing it. It's the book's done. Like, they have plenty of time to just prove the way they're selling it.
Well, one of the things about having a company behind it is, like, I know they're trying to sell it directly. I don't know if Eric's company is trying to sell it to stores, or at least advertise for stores to order so many copies of it themselves. I'd assume it would, but at the same time, I think people just are done with stores. Like, it's like, why would we even bother? And I get that, I mean, I don't even go to a store, but you'd think you just wouldn't want to cut off that end. Like, maybe just put a few solicitation emails out and just leave it at that. And if it picks up, it's good. You don't have to try too hard. But it feels like you could get some bulk sales that way if a store's like, hey, this is a good book. Maybe we should order like 20 copies.
Yeah, I don't know about that as far as.
Yeah, well, neither of us work there, so we don't know.
I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, obviously, an LCS could go and order 10 copies if they want.
Like, I know
Four variants.
All my print-on-demand stuff that I do with Kablam, because Kablam has this copy, is after a certain threshold, a certain order amount, you give them a cut-off discount. So it's like if an LCS wanted to order 50 copies of your book, they could without going broke doing it, or, compared to what they'd make it back.
Yeah.
So I would hope that they have solicitations for that.
The other thing is their sort of cover page that like they have as the thumbnail for their video, and that sort of shows up when you put a link to the campaign is I believe Rennie's cover, which
Good
Yeah, I
cover,
like her and
but
everything, but
you'd want Dillard's.
it's not as good as it's not as good as the
I'll be
whatever
honest,
it's called, cover
even
A.
if you got like the best cover artist in the industry to come and do a cover for it, I think you would still want to put Dillard's default cover, because the thing that will sell the book the best is the thing that reflects the interior art. Because that's actually one of the things that have driven people out of buying comics for the longest time, is you buy this comic that's got this amazing cover art, then you open up and there's like this slop art that doesn't even match the amazing cover. It's like, what was the point of that cover?
I mean, there's so many bad decisions in this. And here's the other thing: like Dillard's video has like front and center yellow flash that is like a logo comes up.
Yeah.
You know, Dillard draws, and you know, Literature Devil, which it in the Rippaverse preview doesn't even mention him.
Yeah.
And he's got a big audience, and it's like you're not even telling people who it's from. And
Yeah, and wasn't Lit Devil in charge of a lot of like the writing and editing and stuff like that? Like he was a very big part of what makes this book function.
Right. I mean, I guess he was technically the editor, but I'm pretty sure he, you know, helped sort of refine
like write
the
the
story
dialogue and stuff. It's like, this is the story. It's like, okay, but this is how the people would speak. So a lot of editing is writing, right? You're just not the one credited for writer.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's in there somewhere, but I don't remember seeing him in the preview video. And Dillard's just from beginning to end was just exciting and interesting.
Yeah.
Grr.
Fizchoso, I have no idea why Teespring took down your posters. I'm not Teespring. I don't work for them. I just haven't bothered to contact them. They removed, for copyright reasons, my own personal logo, probably because it just ended up being flagged automatically from their system because it might have looked somewhat vaguely similar to somebody else's. I don't know. But it's a logo that I made myself that is distinct, that I've been using for like over a decade now. And like the auto flag system cut it off. And I just have not bothered to put in a report saying like, hey, this is I have all the legal rights I need to sell this product if I want to. And so like, no, I don't know. They could take them down for any reason at all. And a lot of times it's a bot that ends up taking it down. You might have to send in an email inquiry to find out if it deserves to be taken down or if it was a mistake or whatever.
I'm trying. Oh, it's the most recent video. Oh, he hasn't done any videos on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to become too much of a shill.
Listen,
stream, but...
we can shill our buddy, our very good friend John Dillard, as much as we want. I will never say no to shilling Dillard. There's a short list of people who deserve it, and he's on there. Especially with how much he supported the show himself, even financially. He's donated several times. Let me find the full screen window.
Yeah, see, 1942.
Yeah.
So I don't have to turn it down too much. He's not going to copyright strike us.
Also, no, it's not muted. Okay. Sometimes I have it muted by default. I had to check.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is exciting. Look at his mechs at the very beginning. Like he did all the animation for this too. It took him months.
I remember, yeah.
They didn't even show that. Look at that image. I don't think they even showed not even 10% of this.
He also didn't end up redubbing it over because he said he didn't like his voice for the main character, and he was looking for a specific zone. And I basically hit it. Like I sent in him one that I did where I dubbed like lip match and redubbed over the thing, and he just didn't end up using it afterwards. He said I had basically hit it too, but I guess it was too much work to go back in and re-edit the video.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, some of these scenes, there's the bad guy. And like none of this was in the Rippaverse one.
Yeah.
And that's pretty awesome. Yeah. There you
Yeah,
go.
see, there's a transformation. Henshin. Let's go.
Yeah. Take that and like, expand
Just
it out.
extend it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic. I don't even want to show the other one.
No. That was the better one. We don't need to disgrace it by putting the worst one up there with it.
Yeah, that gets people excited, I think. It got people excited when he put that out 8 months ago.
Mm.
But yeah. Well, someone will just have to have a chat with either Yellow Flash or Eric July or someone.
Yeah, I don't know if you need to
Dillard's-
talk to Eric directly about it, though, because he's the top dog. If you did talk to him, he would tell whoever needs to be told. But obviously, there's other people underneath him. You probably have to talk to, like, the marketing director or whatever. But, yeah, if you talk to the boss, he could tell the guy in charge to do the job.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, this is our book. I want to present it the way I want to present it, and I really don't like what you guys came up with. It's like, I'm not even asking you to redo it or
Just use the one I already made.
Effort in. Here you go. Just put this one front and center.
Yeah.
I see he's up. He's on Dark Gifts channel right now.
Oh, cool. Well, we're almost done here, and people don't ever have to feel the need to stick around for the closing screen. I do have music playing in case you want to enjoy it, but that's really just for latecomers to know when the next show is going to be, and that we're over. You missed it. So go over there, I guess, to Dark Gift. I don't do raids here because of the ending screen, though you can raid on YouTube. Maybe on a game day that we're streaming, we'll do some raids out. But yeah, just go over, go check out. I'm sure he's doing some selling for mostly that, but also his catch-up book.
Yeah.
You
Right
can
now he's got
feel
Doc
free to
Blaylock on the screen. So
drop that link in the chat if you want.
yeah. If you want to see an old man petting a dog, apparently right now, but
Dogs are cool.
yeah.
And also, go check out my website, xdynamischaos.com. I'm still promoting the Dreamscape Dilemma, which we're working on.
Mhm.
We should get some new pages up in the Patreon this week, maybe, but definitely plenty this month. And you'll be able to buy that when it's done. But lots of projects coming down the drain.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely shilling this book. So yeah, check out Dark Gift stream after this.
But yeah, that's about time to end. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please share it out with somebody else. Actually, I don't even care if you did or not. Go share it off with somebody else anyway. Get more people in here. Subscribe to the channel. Or follow on Twitch, wherever you are. And if you really enjoyed it, you actually enjoyed it, you can always give a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitoriumlive. Really helps us out, and we will see you guys no later than Thursday. Actually, I got some new tech set up to be able to do some less spotty streams, so you might even see tomorrow some gameplay. Who knows what I'll play? So, see you then.
I can actually even report a little bit about the Oblivion remake,
Yeah.
remaster, because I've been watching somebody play it.
Yeah, so take it easy, everyone.
Cool stuff. See ya.